Hey everyone, I'm Anna Berry,
And I'm Tom Bielkini.
and this is Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. Right, hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. I'm Anna Berry, and today we're talking about small town dreams and big time drama, and of course the infamous 50-foot leg lamp in Chickasha, Oklahoma, all thanks to this gentleman right here, filmmaker Reagan Elkins. Welcome to the podcast, Reagan.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, first of all, before we get into this documentary, I want our viewers to know a little bit about yourself. Who are you and where are you currently right now?
Yeah, so I actually live here in Chickasha, Oklahoma, 5 blocks. My office is 5 blocks away from the giant leg lamp in town. And so I own a company called Intellego Media. We do a lot of corporate videos, a lot of music videos for some cool bands here in Oklahoma. And so, yeah, I enjoy getting to do what I love to do, but for a living, you know what I mean? So it's been really fun. But yeah, we're based out of Chickasha, Oklahoma.
Okay, so maybe someone doesn't know where Chickasha is. Where exactly in the Oklahoma map is it?
Yeah, so Chickasha is about 35 minutes south of Oklahoma City. So it's a pretty fast drive. It's not a big deal at all. But we get a lot of people that come in for the holidays for our Festival of Light every single year. So people probably heard about that. Millions of lights at our local park in town. And so people travel from all over the place to come see that.
Awesome.
But really, this project came about with this giant leg lamp. People in town were wondering, how do we get people to come to town all year round and not just during Christmas, during the holidays, you know? So that's kind of how this started.
Well, so yeah, let's talk about this. It's called Fragile is the documentary.
Yeah.
And so what made you say, yes, this story needs to be a documentary? Was it the lamp? Was it that interesting man behind it? Or
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, we're calling it Fragile, you know, kind of
Okay,
a
wasn't
nod
sure.
to, no, yeah, it's got a little lay at the end.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nod to the movie, of course, you know, playing off of that the major award scene where he pulls it out. It's like,
Yeah.
Fragile, must be Italian. So it's really a wild, bizarre backstory with this whole leg lamp because a gentleman in town named Tim Elliott, business owner in town, featured prominently in this documentary. You know, especially during COVID, we were like, a lot of businesses were closing down. They were trying to figure out, how do we keep business alive in Chickasha, America? And so this guy, you know, basically goes, I have an idea. And I remember being in his office because I did corporate videos with him. And he goes, hey, I want to show you something. And he takes me over to his computer and he shows me probably one of the worst Photoshopped images of a leg lamp at the end of Main Street. And I laughed. I thought he was joking. And he did not laugh back. And so about 6 months later, I found out that this was real. They really wanted to build a giant leg lamp at the end of Main Street. And so that's kind of where this started. They wanted some tourist trap to get people to come to town. And at that moment, as a filmmaker, I was like, I might need to get my camera out. And so I would have people call me and say, hey, they're putting up this giant inflatable downtown. And I would, of course, grab my camera, drive downtown and watch this thing, just the most surreal object, you know, seeing this leg inflate downtown. And then lo and behold, Matt Pinnell finds a picture of it, shares it, and the whole thing goes viral. I mean, all the news stations, everyone starts picking it up. And so it went nationwide. All their affiliates and everybody started picking this leg lamp up. And at that point, after that, it was 2020 Christmas. At that point, people in town were like, what if we made this permanent? And so that's where the permanent structure came from. They raised $1.4 million to build this giant leg lamp. And of course, some people love the thing. And some people in the community also want to burn it to the ground, essentially. They absolutely hate it. And so as a documentarian, this is just a gold mine. I didn't know what I was going to be filming. I would show up at city council meetings and people would just go off about this thing, whether it's sexist, objectifying.
And you're loving it.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, we got to record. So it's like taking Christ out of Christmas. What is this? You know, what does this leg lamp represent? And so even in small towns, you'll find, especially in Chickasha, the characters are very strong. I'll say it that way. People are adamantly against it or they're for it. They see the tourism potential. It has brought in hundreds of thousands of people to Chickasha and also millions of dollars in tax revenue. People will come and visit and then go spend money at the burger joint or at the boutiques or whatever. In fact, the number that I have that's featured in this documentary from 22 to 23, it was like $7 million extra dollars that it brought in to Chickasha. So it's
$7 million for the year, or 22 to 23 for 1 year, $7 million revenue. Oh my goodness.
in additional tax revenue. Yes. It's insane. So as far as the tourism, part of this, it totally worked.
Yeah.
Then you have the backstory with Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers was like, "Hey, this is our trademarked image," you know?
What?
Yeah, so this is part of this documentary too, and I hope people will
Oh, I
watch
can't
it.
wait to see it.
It's wild. I mean, the rabbit hole, I mean, all the different aspects to this story is pretty bizarre. So Warner Brothers back in 2019 basically sent Tim an email and said, "Hey, you can't use our image. You can't use our trademarked image. Find something else. Good luck." And Tim was like, "Okay, cool. How do we find a way around this? How do we use it anyway? Because he loves the Christmas story. He loves what it represents. He loves this major award or whatever it is. And he saw the tourism potential. So they found, and it's in the documentary. You have to watch it to find out how they, they hired a trademark attorney and all of these things. They got the leg lamp up on Main Street. And then if you Google a Chickasha leg lamp right now, one of the first things that'll pop up is Warner Brothers cease and desist. And so back in 2024, over a year ago now, Warner Brothers sent another cease and desist and said, "Hey guys, take it down. Like, this is our image." And of course, they responded and said, "Here's the reasons why we believe that we have a right to this." Not only do you have the aspect of, it's owned by the local arts college and that, or the property is owned by a local arts college, but there was a gentleman in town. He passed away in 2020. In his obituary, he claimed that he invented the leg lamp from A Christmas Story, and
In
he was from
Oklahoma?
Chickasha, Oklahoma. And so all of this lore started happening in town. Everyone starts murmuring, like, "Holy crap, Chickasha, a guy in Chickasha actually had the rights to it, and Warner Brothers stole his idea." And so there's this whole aspect where none of it's really provable, of course, but you'll see it in this documentary that someone claimed in Chickasha that Warner Brothers took his idea. And we actually have footage of that original leg lamp that was created before A Christmas Story came out. And so that's all in this story as well. So there's so many different aspects on top of so many layers of this story that people may not even realize from the trailer that's already been out. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
So many things, Reagan. First of all, I just want to applaud you on following your instinct. I think there's so
Thank you.
many moments where creatives or just normal humans are like, this would be a great documentary. But the fact that you felt it in your gut, and lucky you, you know how to work a camera, but just followed that. And the journalistic curiosity and seeing the drama build up. I mean, that is applaudable because some people just let these great stories go, but you capitalized
Mhm.
on it. So
Thank you.
bravo on that. I'm sure our viewers know what we're referencing. This is my little mini leg I got some years ago. I really want a big one,
Yeah.
but
Oh, you need one.
it was like $300. I was like, I'll opt for the smaller 1-foot
There
one.
you go. There you go. Of
But yeah, I was talking to my daughter about it last night because of course she loves the Christmas Story, and she's like,
course.
is it fragile or fragile? I was like, I don't know. It's Oklahoma. I'm gonna play it safe.
Yes,
I
yes.
love fragile.
Fragile, for sure. I just watched A Christmas Story a couple nights ago with the girls. I have 3 girls and a boy, and they were just laughing. They had such a great time with the movie and everything. And of course, there's so many people around the whole world that love this movie. And so no one really realized how popular this leg lamp would be until they got it up downtown. Even the inflatable brought in thousands and thousands of people, and we were there to film all of that stuff. So the tourism aspect, again, it worked. And even you can drive by really any time, and there's
Mhm.
somebody down there by the leg lamp taking a picture.
So it's there all the time, the leg lamp.
It's permanent, yes.
Oh my god. And so are people still feeling like it's objectifying women? Is there still a case on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people still in the community. I mean, it's been up for a few years now, but there's still a lot of people in the community that just can't stand it, that won't even drive by it. They hate it that much. But most of the people in town really don't care. And that's kind of where I am, to be honest with you. I genuinely don't really care about the leg lamp. I tell people it could stay up for 1,000 years or be taken down tomorrow. It is 5 blocks from my office, so I see it every day. It doesn't really bother me though. So I felt like that was another reason why I was probably the right person to film this, because
Yeah,
my whole goal was just to tell the true story. I wanted to
right.
show both sides of this story. And so we interviewed people who love the leg lamp. They love that it's bringing people to town and bringing in millions of dollars. And we also interviewed people that can't stand it. And so I wanted to show both sides of the story as, unbiased as I can.
But the
Um,
numbers don't lie. The numbers of revenue for our
yeah,
state, they don't lie. have you
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure you've been I live in Tulsa. Have you been to Buck Adams? Have you seen the Land of the Giants, what Mary Beth Babcock has done? I mean, Buck
Mhm.
Adams and the Space Cowboy and Cowgirl and all
Yeah.
that stuff, they are huge draw. I mean, Al
Yeah.
Roker was just here taking a picture with
Mhm.
that. So why not the fabulous leg lamp?
I know, exactly. Yep. Pops, down there, we took the girls recently to see the
Mhm.
giant pop bottle, and so the tourism stuff really works, and that's in this documentary as well, because it's a Christmas film, but it's also a tourism film, and everyone has their opinions about it, but whether you love it or hate it, it's working. But there's a whole scene where Tim, the main character pretty much in this film, he took an RV trip all around the country. And he went and saw the world's largest beaver, the world's largest this or that, and he got inspired, the world's largest Santa Claus. And so Chickasha has always kind of been known as Christmas town to a certain degree. We have the Festival of Light, like I mentioned earlier. And so he was like, what can we do that's Christmas oriented, but it's just bizarre enough that it's going to bring people in? And they
Okay.
chose Big Lamb. So yeah, it's wild.
So we're gonna get into the release and all that stuff, but I have a prediction because I
Okay.
personally have never been to Chickasha. Now, let me get my head straight. I was just in Tecumseh because
Okay.
they're filming south of Stillwater down there. Are you close to Tecumseh?
I wouldn't say we're close to Tecumseh. No, we're so just 35 minutes south. So if you go on 44,
Yeah.
you go just south of Oklahoma City, we're right there. So
Okay.
it's really a close drive to anybody that's in the city. We go to Norman quite a bit too, so
Often.
it's
Okay. Okay.
45 minutes from Norman, somewhere around there.
Right. Well, we go to Norman often. I love going down to Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
It's like I go to another state sometimes. It's so different and new than up here in Tulsa. But
yeah,
I have a feeling once this documentary is out, and then there's going to be people like me and people who are curious to go
yeah,
see it. I'm so curious what that revenue is going to be like after the media attention on it, especially in this.
yeah.
So, do you think it's going to help?
I do. Ultimately, I do. Even for the people that hate it, at least gave them a platform to
Hmm.
speak their mind. They spoke their heart on this whole situation. But on the other side, I think the more that people watch this, it's probably going to increase the legend of the leg lamp. So people are going to want to come see this for themselves. In fact,
Yeah,
on our trailer, some of the comments were, "I got to go check this out." You know,
totally.
so it's already started. In fact, we're going to be tracking that through the Economic Development Council to see
Mhm.
how many people after this documentary comes out are actually going to come see it. And the controversial title for this thing, it's how a giant tourist attraction nearly tore a small town apart.
Mhm.
So you have the tension and the drama in the title, of course, but it's not just about the drama, of course. I mean, you can't tell a story without drama,
Mm-mm.
without tension, without a mountain to climb and all that stuff. There is no story without it. And so I wanted to tell the true story. But at the end of the day, you can't deny what it's done. Whether you love it or hate it, it has brought in a ton of money and people are coming to our town because of it. And so that's a wild aspect. The other part of this is I'm fourth generation from Chickasha. And so my family's been here for a long time. And the behind the scenes stories, the things that we
Small
encountered.
town chatter.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was wild. It was like Parks and Recreation. I tell people this is so if you had Parks and Recreation and a little bit of Tiger King and A Christmas Story had a baby, that's what this documentary is. And so it's literally you have these small town like the city council meetings where people will come up and cuss city council out because they hate this, that, or the other about the leg lamp or the lampshades or whatever it may be. And I'm just standing there like, what in the world is going on? I just pushed record and didn't know what was going to happen. And so, but it took, I mean, we started 5 years ago on this project.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this process. This was during COVID
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
started, and
Mm.
5 years later, or what's the debut like? How are you releasing it? Tell me about that
Yeah.
process.
So yeah, 5 years ago during COVID. So you'll see even in the documentary, some people are still wearing masks and all that stuff. Some of the news footage that first came out that we licensed, they had masks on, and people were putting that inflatable up during 2020 to try to save our town,
Yeah.
essentially. But yeah, throughout the years, different things would happen. So the permanent structure was put up in 2022, and this was again. Trying to reconnect. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, we kind of lost connection there for a second. But in 2022, the big permanent structure went up. And so we're filming interviews and all that stuff, and things still happened in 23. And so we had a couple years to edit this thing, and finally, it's at a place where we're ready to release it. It'll come out. We're doing an exclusive limited release on Vimeo OTT. So it's a pay-to-play platform where people can click in and watch the film. We're also showing it at the local theater which is
Yeah.
really cool. We're super stoked about that. People are getting their tickets already, which is great. We're talking to a theater in Oklahoma City that will hopefully play it as well. But we are working with a distribution company to hopefully get it on TVOD sites like Amazon Prime and Apple TV and all that type of stuff. What's been interesting too is we've had other production companies after the trailer is released call and say, "Hey, I've got a connection with this streamer and that streamer. You
Yes.
want to do a deal or something like that?" So there might be a streamer down the road, but as far as we're concerned, we're just ready to get this out for Christmas. This is the time to get it out.
Yes. Right now. Well, everyone's always looking for a Christmas movie, and if you've exhausted them, like we probably have as parents, we
Yeah.
love a Christmas movie. We always start with Home Alone, and then we do
Yep.
Christmas Vacation, and then we do Elf, and then we do
Gotta do Elf.
Christmas Story. It's like, but this will be a fun one to add to the mix because everyone's a little exhausted from all those great classic Christmas movies.
Right.
Well, so talk to me about what your dream situation will be. Like when you say streaming, obviously we want it on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that. What would be your dream situation?
Yeah, so dream situation would be that a Netflix would get a hold of this, or really HBO Max, I think, would
HBO
be a
Max.
nice place because this is a Warner Brothers world. Christmas Story is owned by Warner Brothers, Leg Lamp owned by Warner Brothers, HBO Max owned by Warner Brothers. I think this would be a great opportunity for them. The hard part as an independent filmmaker these days is you really don't have a straight line to these guys. That you have to go through, a distribution company or this, that, or the other. And I have a small distribution company that we're working with, but it's very difficult to get in contact with those streamers as a small town independent filmmaker. But I hope that, as far as the transactional sales, this is kind of one of those stories that, we're going to put a QR code up by the leg lamp. We're going to put a QR code at the Festival of Light so people can scan and download this film and, pay $3 or whatever it
Oh
is
yeah.
to go rent this thing. And so I
Okay,
think
that's
we're going to
smart.
do well. And so every single year we're going to push it during the holidays to
Hmm.
get people to hopefully download and watch it with their families.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how do you make money? I love documentaries, but
Yeah.
how does a documentary make money? So is that your plan, the QR code? Because I'll pay
Yeah.
$3.99 for to
Totally.
watch it.
Totally, and I hope other people will too. I mean, that's less than the cup of coffee. In November, it'll be closer to like $10 for our exclusive limited release. But that's still, I mean, that's you go to Starbucks and you'll spend that easily. But when we get closer to the holidays, it'll be a little bit cheaper. But yeah, that's so you make a percentage off of those sales. So
Okay.
through a distribution company, we're using a small distribution. They'll take 20 to 30% off the top, and then the filmmaker will make the rest of that. What it comes down to, though, whether you go with a distribution company, use an agent, whatever that looks like, the filmmakers really, it's on them to do the marketing to a certain
Mhm.
degree. Sometimes distribution companies will do the marketing, but then they'll charge it back to the filmmaker, or they'll make all their money back from the marketing, and then they'll finally pay the filmmaker. So it's kind of a tough situation for filmmakers these days. I haven't lost hope in it at all, of course. But documentaries aren't getting bought up as much as they were, back when Tiger King was hot.
Right, right. Well,
So
it's a lot of passion projects for all of us in the creative world. I totally understand. But
yeah.
was this your first documentary? I know you said you've done corporate videos and music videos. Was this your first doc?
So we do a lot of short documentaries, a lot that have gone into festivals and things like that. This is my first feature-length documentary to direct, and so this is a big one for us, a big moment. I think hopefully a turning point to a certain degree. We want to do more feature-length projects like
Mhm.
this. This was just one of those special projects that I couldn't say no to. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars out of my own pocket from this thing, but I believe in it, and every producer, every director that I've showed this trailer to, they're like, "That's gonna sell, like, that's gonna work."
Yeah.
Just because you have all the drama, everything from city council to Warner Brothers to all of this stuff on the foundation of a giant 50-foot leg. You can't fall into a better story to a certain degree. It's pretty wild.
Did you see the Ren Fair documentary?
I did not.
Okay,
I did.
watch that. It's about Ren Fair, Renaissance fairs, but
Cool.
it's similar where I think it was a 4 or 5-part series, but a documentary about this gentleman in Texas who was like the king, or yeah, he was the king of the Texas largest Renaissance fair
Oh, wow.
festival. So
Yeah.
watch that. I think it's called Ren Fair.
I'll have to look that one up.
Talk to our filmmaker friends listening to this, watching this. What is the difference between, obviously, we're not going to do the difference between like a corporate video. I do corporate videos daily and,
Sure.
and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very corporate,
Yeah.
but doing something from the more creative end versus like it's creative in the post, I'm assuming, but while
Sure.
you're doing it, you're just a journalist, right? What's the difference?
Yeah, so there's definitely a massive difference in my mind. So when I go into a corporate film, sometimes I won't really know where the direction of a story. If it's like a short documentary, I'll have questions already outlined. I know kind of the direction of where this is going. But for a project that you're filming in the moment, it is a lot more journalistic because you really don't, you're trying to get to the bottom of what's happening, if that makes sense. So a lot of my questions are, okay, so where did you come up with this idea, or why did you do this or that or the other? Know where this was going to a certain degree. Whereas a lot of my corporate films, I kind of have an idea where it's going. Also, the scale is so much larger, when you're dealing with
Footage.
years of footage. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because a corporate film, I might film for a day or two and then we're editing and we're knocking it out. This has been years of footage, so many different scenes, so many aspects of the story, and then trying to make sense of it in post production.
So how does that work? I mean, because I think of trying to almost write a book from your life, your 50 years of life. So how do
Yeah.
you take 5 years of footage and how did you timeline it into what was it, an hour, 20 minutes? What's your
Hour and 22. Yeah,
hour?
exactly. It's a lot of, how should I say it? I mean, you really have to go through every single shot. You have to go through every folder and just make sense of it, and then be very careful to label at
You're
that point.
time coding a lot?
Yes, all that stuff. So even with the interviews too, I mean, some of these interviews were 3 hours long.
Yeah. People
And
like
it's
to
like
ramble, I know.
they like to ramble, and also when you don't know where the story is going to a certain degree, as a director, I'm like, well, maybe, I'll
Hit
just keep
all angles.
yeah, exactly. Hit all angles, hope for the best. And that's what happened. I mean, these interviews were extensive, and then trying to boil it down and all that stuff. So we're transcribing all of the interviews. We're
Mhm.
going through and reading the transcriptions to try to make sense of it. To a certain degree, I would say that the story told itself as in, like, this is just what happened. But because people elaborate, they go on and on. I mean, I'm not dogging on my interviewees, of course, but there's so much to this story. And each person has their own aspect and own, opinion on this thing. There was just a lot to get through. And then boiling, it might have taken 5 hours to install this giant leg lamp, but it's a 2-minute sequence. You're boiling all this footage down into something that's tight and that's watchable. There's a lot that goes into it. And so a lot of people ask, well, why did it take so long? Well, one, documentaries take a long time in general, especially feature length. And two, passion project documentaries take even longer, because I have my day job. I'm making corporate films. I'm putting my children to bed and then I'm going to work on this thing, in the evenings. And so it is taking a long time to get this project done. But there is a huge difference, yeah, between this project and the corporate films that we do. I will say, though, that there is so much more, there's a lot more, I won't say just art involved, but there's a little bit more creativity. I mean, you can have a little bit more creativity with a project like this, as well as like my music videos that I do. We do a lot of music videos. You've probably heard of bands like Hinder and Aranda, RC Lynn, she won America's Got Talent. Those are some of the clients that we work with.
Awesome.
And they are, I mean, they're incredible, but you get to think about the song and then bring their story to life visually. So there's a lot of creative aspect to that. I found myself collaborating with a lot more people on this documentary though, because I'm not a professional colorist. I can't mix audio, as well. I can do it for the corporate videos, but for something like this, that's going to get out into the universe, it needs to be all done professionally. So that's additional costs, but I also got to collaborate with some really great creatives here in Oklahoma on those lines.
Was it 100% Oklahoma made, produced? I mean, all locals?
Yeah, all locals. So I would call, crew members to come in and help me run camera for a specific project. The colorist is the only one that was outside of Oklahoma. OK Sounds Good is a company here in Oklahoma City. They did all the post-production audio on it. They did an incredible job. And then various other people to assist and edit and things like that. So yeah, all Oklahoma. And then of course, all filmed in Oklahoma too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do documentaries get any rebates or credits or anything, any support?
They do if you spend X amount of dollars.
Okay.
But we're kind of self-funded. It was hard to kind of track all that, but we had already started this project. The hard part with the rebate is when you start the project, that's your start date.
Yeah.
And so we'd already started because we get a phone call, oh, come film this inflatable.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit more difficult. So we didn't get a rebate on this one, but that's the other thing. I don't think Chickasha is quite done yet. I think
Mm.
there's some other things that they want to put up, and you'll see the tease in this documentary too. There may be a Fragile 2 after this is out, but
Oh,
we'll see.
yeah. So besides Fragile 2 or Fragile 2 or Due, what's next for you guys?
Yeah, so we're next on our list for Intellego Media, we have a couple ideas for some feature films. We have a big collaboration with the university here in Chickasha, and so we do a lot of film festivals as well. And so every year we do a 24-hour video race with the local arts college, which is super fun. We get people from all over the state to come down to Chickasha and film a project that they have 24 hours to create it. So we have our hands in a couple different cool projects, whether from film fest and potential features and stuff. But primarily those corporate projects and music videos pay the bills. So that's kind of what's next.
I totally get it. What do you think about the pulse of the film community in Oklahoma? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I love this community. Kind of my backstory is I'm not just in the corporate world. Before the corporate videos, I worked in feature films. I did a lot of locations. So Allison Nafee is one of I call her mom. She's one of the main locations individuals in Oklahoma, along with Dylan Brody. He was one of my mentors back in the day. I did a lot of films
Mhm.
and locations. Also, I was an executive producer and co-producer on a movie called Cowgirl Song, which featured Darcy Lynn from America's Got Talent, Cheryl Ladd from Charlie's Angels, and Savannah Lee May, and that was filmed all here in Chickasha. And the
Nice.
cool thing, the comments that we got from these, producer and director that came from California, is one, the locations. Everyone is so excited for film in Oklahoma. And they saw obviously a direct contrast from where they came from. One of my instructors in film school was Gray Fredrickson, a famous
Mhm.
producer at OCCC, and he always would say it like this: if you go to California, they're more likely to say, "Get off my lawn." You come
Totally.
to Oklahoma, you'll get handed a glass of sweet tea. So it's
Yeah.
a different dynamic altogether. And so I love filming here, one, because the community there's so much buy-in for the film industry here. I mean, we have amazing locations. I mean, everything from winding rivers to trees and, I mean, you name it, sand dunes. We have
Yeah.
all of that here in Oklahoma, and people outside our state just think, well, there's flatlands in Oklahoma. There's so much more to Oklahoma than what people may realize. You have the community as well. And then as far as the crew, it's just as incredible. I
Yeah.
work with a lot of really, really cool people who run camera, who boom op, who edit, and all of these different aspects to film. And they're so passionate about what they do. They're professionals, but they do it with a smile. They enjoy what they do. And a lot of people in Oklahoma too is like, we have that grit, that work ethic. We want to do everything we do as well as possible. Our name's attached to it. And so there's definitely a stark contrast between a lot of different states that I've noticed in this industry. So yeah, it's a great place to be. We
It's
have
a
the
good time.
rebate, we have everything.
Yeah, I left Tulsa or Oklahoma when I was 18 and I went to school in Chicago for acting and
Mhm.
then I lived in LA and New York. So I was gone 15 years. Never in my life when I was 18 if you told me there's going to be a film scene in Oklahoma, Anna, stay here.
Yeah,
Never in my
right.
life. I was like,
Oh my
get me to
god.
LA, but I went through Chicago first to get some training. So it's really fascinating 20 plus years later, here we are.
Mhm.
The only
Mhm.
thing I want to see more of, and that's one of the reasons why I started the show with my co-host Tom, who couldn't be here today, but
Yeah.
is to bridge the gap between Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
Sure.
I mean, we have such a great culture here in Tulsa. Oklahoma City has such a great culture. And sometimes I feel like it's a little divided. And I hope that, just meeting you, and then if there's something that we can do to help bring you to Tulsa,
Yeah.
let me know. I mean, I would like for you to come to Tulsa and jump on some of our lifestyle shows. I
Sure.
host all of them, so I'm happy to connect you with
Sure.
it. But come to Tulsa and share what you're doing here because
Yeah.
it's just an hour and a half drive, vice versa.
Absolutely. Tulsa is amazing. I've been able to work a little bit in Tulsa, not as much as I would like to, but I worked on Reservation Dogs with Sterling Harjo years ago when they did the pilot. I was
Mhm.
the assistant location manager on the pilot, and it was incredible. I mean, it's a tight knit group up there too, and
Mhm.
so people really love the film industry even up there. Happy to come to Tulsa anytime. Love that town.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a big state, but there's a great interstate that we can just
Yeah.
keep collaborating together. And so with that, what can we do? This is obviously it's a digital podcast and show. So it's going to
Yeah.
reach the world.
Sure,
But what can
absolutely.
we do to help support you and Fragile?
Yeah, I think just pass this around. I think the biggest thing, especially since we're doing this kind of grassroots to a certain degree, share it to your friends and family. Share that link. If you go to fragiledocumentary.com, it'll
Mhm.
pop up the link to pre-order it right now. It's officially out on the 7th of this, I mean, literally Friday. So it's coming out then. So it'll be available to watch at home on Vimeo OTT at that point. So yeah, if you could share it around with friends and family to your friends group, whatever that looks like, that would help a small town filmmaker in Chickasha, Oklahoma, for sure. I think this is a story that's going to resonate. I think there's so many small towns around the nation. They want to make a name for themselves, and that's really what this story is. It's not just about a giant leg lamp. It's about a small town who wants to make a name for themselves. We felt like we were kind of dying. We were stagnant for years and years. And so a lot of people in the community were just like, how can we save our town? What can we do to get people to come here? And whether it's a giant leg lamp or a giant lightsaber or whatever that looks like, it worked. I mean, the thing worked and it's brought people to town. But I hope people will see past even some of the tension. No matter what side you're on with this story, it's about a community who truly cares for their town. That's what it comes down to.
And that's a beautiful message when I drive through these smaller towns and I see the history
Yeah.
and the old brick buildings, and some of it is just going away. And I just praise the little cafes that are still there or
Yeah.
the vintage stores, but so much of it is just dispensaries and pops or the dollar
Right.
store. And I'm so grateful for towns that have that revitalization of Main Street. And I know we have initiatives for that, but
Yeah.
the government can't solve all of our problems. It takes the artists to
Absolutely.
create the stories worth seeing in person. So I hope
Yeah.
so many people flock down to Chickasha and take a picture. I am not offended at all. I'm going to give you my opinion. I love a nice, sexy leg with fringe. I
I
think it's
love it. I
beautiful.
love it. Yeah.
And
Mm.
last question for you. Are you going to be submitting to film festivals, like even the Dead Center Film Festival and
Yes.
the Circle Cinema Film Festival? I want to see you at Circle Cinema.
Let's do it. Yes, absolutely. I will. The film festivals that don't require a premiere status, absolutely. I will be submitting it there. We're going to hopefully do a whole festival circuit in 2026 with this thing. This is also one of those stories that every single year we can push this thing out, for Christmas viewers. This is not just a 1-year thing.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going with this. So yeah, festivals are on our radar. Hopefully Dead Center, Circle Center would be awesome. And so, yeah, lots of hope for this project. But yeah, Fragile documentary. Hopefully people will go check.
FragileDocumentary.com.
That's it.
Awesome. Okay, Reagan. And what is your production company name?
Intellego Media. So if you look up Intellego Media, you'll find more about the documentary as well. If you follow also Fragile documentary on Facebook and Instagram,
Okay.
today we're posting some movie clips and some behind the scenes stuff throughout this week, getting prepared for this release on Friday. So a lot of extra content out there.
How exciting. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Behind the Scenes Oklahoma. We will definitely support you. We will do the QR code or go to the website and buy the movie, watch it, share it this Christmas season and for the rest to come. So we appreciate you and keep making movies.
Will do. And thanks for having me.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is Behind the Scenes Oklahoma.
Won't you head on down to Tulsa? There's a building there, and your sparks lost its flare, and you ain't going nowhere. Sit on steps and let the breeze blow through your hair. Soon you'll feel him there. Hear notes in the air. The top hat music band that they call Moses.